Good evening, everybody. This is your Fleet Commander Steve Parmley. Tonight we have a special guest with us. This is Season 1, Episode 1 of Starfleet Icons. Um, we are joined with Patricia Tallman, who played Lyta Alexander. Hang on one second, Ed. And we'll have a guest moderator, Dean Rogers, will be interviewing her in just a few minutes. So give us just a second. Captain Rogers, member of Starfleet, good guy. And we have, in the background, we have Ed Tunis running the control room. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dean, and y'all stay tuned.
Hello, friends of the fleet, and welcome to the latest episode of Starfleet Icons. This is the series that gives you a chance for SFI to meet and greet with icons from the worlds of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I'm your host, Dean Rogers. Tonight's guest declares on her Twitter bio as follows: adventurer, event leader, speaker, coach, author, actor, former stunt person. You may have seen her in The Night of the Living Dead in 1990. You may have seen her in episodes of Star Trek. Or you may have seen her as Lyta Alexander in Babylon 5. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is wonderful, stupendous. Let's welcome her in. Patricia Tallman.
Oh my gosh. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well,
Very
it's
sweet.
great to have you here. And where are you calling from? Where are you calling us at right now?
I'm in my home in my very messy office in Los Angeles.
Nice. Well, it's glad to have you here. Well, the first question I would like to ask you is, I read from your bio that you started acting at the age of 15. So I want you to walk us back to the moment you realized you wanted to become an actress. Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh, I might actually go back a little further than that, because when I was really young, maybe in the single digits still, I would get to watch television with my dad, because back in those days, you had one TV if you were lucky, and you watched what was on, right? We didn't have VCRs, we didn't have DVDs, we obviously didn't have any Netflix or anything like that. So guess what my dad liked to watch? Star Trek.
Nice.
The original Star Trek. So I'm just a tiny person brought up on Star Trek, and I would then take my Barbie dolls and go and reenact and create scenes, only I made the captain a woman. So the captain of the ship wasn't Shatner. Although I did have a really old Barbie, and I put a bunch of tinfoil on her head, and she became the Klingon, because I didn't really have any boy dolls. So yeah. But that's when it really kind of started for me. And I actually also then would play act with my cousin, and we would act out the roles personally and create little costumes for ourselves. And we would also reenact Dark Shadows. I don't know if you're familiar with that soap opera, Dark Shadows. And so I don't think it's any coincidence that I ended up in science fiction and horror in my career. It's like early manifestation of a career happened when I was this tiny little person.
Well, that's amazing. Well, since you are a lifelong Star Trek fan, did you have a favorite character
of course
of the series?
Oh, yeah. Well, Spock, of course.
Why Spock?
Because he was so enigmatic, and I thought he was hilarious. I thought he said so much with just the lift of an eyebrow, and all this hilarity is going on around him, and he just kind of doesn't get it or doesn't react. And to me, he was the ultimate straight man. You know, I thought it was hilarious. I also loved Data for the same reason in Next Generation, because he was kind of the straight man, not quite getting it. I love that. And then somebody compared my character, Lyta Alexander on Babylon 5, to Spock. And I was just like, oh, I have arrived.
Yes, you have arrived. And you've done so well that you have been in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, you've been in Next Generation, you've been in Voyager. So when you got that first initial call that you've gone from watching Star Trek, being on Star Trek,
right?
What was your first reaction?
Let's see. Well, I think I just kind of went a little numb. It all happened so organically and gently and easily. I was had a fledgling stunt career at that point. I'd done some stunt work and I was doing quite well. And I changed from, I was in New York City as an actor and a stunt person. That's where I started. And then I moved to Los Angeles. So I was being introduced to new stunt coordinators. That's how you get your job. And someone introduced me to Dennis Matalone, and he had me come and work out with them, work out with the other stunt people, so they could kind of check me out and see if, if I had any chops. He liked what he saw, and he also appreciated, I'm 5'9", and I was very slim at the time. And so he said, you're a really great size to double a lot of our actresses. I mean, we've got these tall, skinny ladies coming in. So I can use you. So he put me in what's called a nondescript or ND stunt job first. And I came in and I got fitted for a Starfleet uniform. I was just beside myself.
I bet.
Beside myself. I got to be on the bridge with Michael Dorn and Jonathan Frakes, and I was just a security stunt person who took a laser hit and died, as you do.
Yeah. I know the feeling from my fan film experience, so I definitely can relate.
Yeah. And I ended up, by the time I was done at Paramount, I had a uniform in every color hanging up in the wardrobe. That's like, what does Pat need this week? We'll put her in her medical blues, or, is she a red shirt, or nope, she's on the bridge. We'll give her yellow today. So that was kind of cool. And then I really developed a great relationship with the stunt guys and Dennis, of course. Dennis Matalone is my hero. And he had me doubling all the guest stars. So I got to double all these wonderful actresses that would come in for 1 week or one script. And I doubled Michelle Forbes. I doubled, oh my gosh, I should have made a list so I wouldn't space out like this. But I got to double some amazing actresses, as well as Gates McFadden and Terry Farrell and the Non-Visitor. Plus playing ancillary small parts. If you saw me on the screen as myself, then you knew something bad was about to happen. I'm going to die, at some point.
But the good things, you have lived to tell and you got such amazing stories. Now, you mentioned moments ago that you became a stunt person. And I'd like to know, because I'm always curious about this, what does it take to become a stunt person? Do you have to go to any school, any training? What does it take to become a stunt person now?
Oh, actually, that's a really good question, because it's kind of misunderstood, I think. Well, I'll just speak from my experience from my time. And it may be a little different now. Stunts are different now. You may have noticed. I mean, now there's all this CGI and things can be put in later. So there's a completely different vibe, if you will. Back in my day, we really had to do all that stuff. We got hit by cars and we fell off tall buildings and we got exploded. So what it took was you had to have the heart. They call it heart in the stunt business. You had to have the heart to put yourself in that situation, and you can't balk, because time is money. And so the stunt coordinator needs to trust you that you're actually going to do the job under the pressure of action rolling. Let's go, you're on, and you got to do the thing that you said you would do. So what helped me as a stunt person, besides the fact that I just love, and I was already an athlete, I danced a lot, so I could take choreography. So I learned I translated that in college into combat choreography, stage combat, and learned some different weaponry, like different fencing techniques, because all the swords are different. And you have to fight in a different way. And I love to fight with found objects, like just grabbing a chair or anything that's handy and just hitting the bad guy with it. I love that kind of storytelling. So it's helpful that you really know your body, whether you're a dancer or a martial artist or any other kind of an athlete would be helpful. Gymnasts do very well as stunt people. Nana Visitor is an accomplished dancer, and she was amazing in stunt scenes. She was amazing in fight scenes, truly. So those kinds of things really help. So having heart and then knowing your body really well. You also have to be willing to take care of your body, work out hard. You've got to be thinner than the actors, which is a real bummer. because most actors are so skinny. You have to be thinner because you're going to wear their wardrobe with pads on. You know, so I had to fit into Laura Dern's size 4 shorts with pads on.
Wow.
Yeah. It was not easy. And you have to kind of be honest. You got to know what you're capable of. I was capable of some things that scared the crap out of me. I couldn't believe I was able to do it, but I also knew I had my limits. Like I didn't do motorcycle stunts. I didn't even bother to learn. I did bother to learn a lot of things, but I just knew that's not for me. That's not me. And let the ladies know who let the ladies have those jobs that are good at that. That's their thing, you know. So yeah, it's kind of being really in tune with yourself and going, how far am I willing to go? Look, when you do stunts, you're going to get hurt. You get hurt. It hurts.
Oh yeah.
You hit the ground, or an actor punches you in the face by mistake, or you get hit and kind of roll up onto a car, and then you're going to fall off the car and hit the asphalt. That hurts. And you do your best, but you know, you put pads in the best places you can. You still time after time after time. And I walk around in pain every day, all day, because of just like being a football player. Maybe you know, I don't know. Have you been an athlete? Have you ever done anything like that? Soccer, football? You just take hit after a while, and your body's never quite the same.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a dumb thing to do, really.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. In fact, someone just commented just moments ago that in the way of the word, I'm not sure if you were in that episode.
Which one? I can't remember the names of I've done over 50 episodes. They all blur. Right. So the way of the warrior, DS9.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine. Ooh. I think it was the 4th season episode where they introduced Worf and they had the Klingon battle.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. You saw me. Oh, you could see me in it. Okay, that's right. Yeah, things are going to go badly.
Absolutely. So, would you be able to talk about what was one of the most difficult stunts that you had to accomplish in your career?
Anything having to do with a high fall, I would say, because my nerves are pretty shattered by high falls, and I would just keep getting these jobs that required me to. It's like, are you kidding me? No, God. And it would be for a job I really wanted to do. And so I'd have to step up and do it. And one of the hardest things I ever had to do was it doesn't sound very dramatic, but I was back east. I was doubling Elizabeth McGovern, if you have a fix on who she is. Downton Abbey is what she's most famous for right now. Yeah. And I had to run on a drawbridge, right? It's a drawbridge. And the drawbridges are graded, especially back east, because any water or snow that falls in, just to fall right through. They're very slippery otherwise. So it's graded, and you could see all the way down to the water. And it was far, and it's nighttime, and we're freezing cold. It's in November. And I have to run and charge because the drawbridge is going like this. So I'm going to run and leap across and grab onto this bar that they soldered onto the drawbridge for me to grab onto. So I can't believe I did this. So I'm running, and I leap across and I grab onto the bar, and this side keeps going up, right? And the both sides went up. And now, because they want me to drop into the river eventually, they want me to hang on, so they're going to lower this side first. They don't want me to hit this side, right? So they lower this side first, and it went like this. And it stopped moving. And I'm like, hello? Can anyone hear me? What am I supposed to do? They're like, hang on.
Oh, dear.
I can't feel my hands. I'm so cold, holding on to a metal bar when it's freezing, and I watched my hands. I was there for minutes, so I hung out best I could. But finally, my hands, it was like Wile E. Coyote, and going ting, 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 and I was I finally went down.
Oh wow!
It was crazy. It was crazy. And they just ended up writing it into the script that it went the way it was supposed to go. I don't know. It was pretty funny.
My goodness.
I know. And then I land in water. And because the tide's going out, that was the other piece. Oh, the tide's going out, Pat.
Oh, dear.
It's getting really shallow. okay, but don't fall. What? What am I supposed to do? It was crazy. They had a like a boat down there, and they had strung a rope across the river so that it would catch me if the boat missed me, and the boat did miss me. And I hit that rope and was like in the current, just like I'm trying to breathe. Oh man, the glamour of showbiz, so elegant. Dragging a wet rat out of the river, you know, it was just awful.
Wow.
Why would you do it? Why do I do these things to myself?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Right? I know. That's what I'm saying. I had another high fall for Gina Davis. That was nuts. And, you know, I mean, crazy. I can't believe I did it. Yeah. Well, and I'm still alive, and I can talk to you about it.
You high fall for Gina Davis.
That was Long Kiss Goodnight.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah. I did some gnarly shit for her. Yeah.
Yep. Well, since you are amongst members of STARFLEET International, I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question. Since you've been on 3 of the Star Trek series, if you had a position on a starship, which would you choose to be on?
Wow. Well, my first ship was the Enterprise. You know, my first ship was with Patrick in charge, and that was pretty amazing. But it was a very serious ship.
Oh, really?
Well, they're not. The cast is amazing. They're hilarious. But the ship itself was pretty serious. I mean, what did we have? Like 10 forward? Did we have 10 forward? Yeah, that's the right ship. Yeah, so you got that. But I thought Deep Space Nine was really fun.
Oh, yeah?
All the shenanigans that was going on. Just hang out with Quark for a little while. It's going to be fun. Something crazy is going to happen. You know, I don't know. Yeah. It was really, I was so blessed because Next Generation was already full on into their show when I joined it. But then when we started up Deep Space Nine, I got to be a part of the startup of a new series, of a new Star Trek series. Holy smokes. And I was there in the beginning of Voyager too, but Voyager had a rockier start, it felt like to me. And there was a lot more tension. Whereas with Deep Space Nine, I felt like there was a lot of creativity involved. It was really cool to be a part of that.
Absolutely. But again, what happens on the promenade has to stay on the promenade.
Yeah. I would be going from the Babylon 5 set as a series regular to Deep Space Nine on the next day as a stunt person. And I never talked about it because my producers on Babylon 5 would have to tell me not to do that because they couldn't risk me hurting myself, you know. But I needed the money. I wasn't paid very well on Babylon 5. So I wasn't about to turn down a job. I worked 24/7 if that's what it takes. And there were some moments where Matt Malone was covering for me because he knew I was racing back from Sun Valley trying to get to Paramount. You know, I'm coming in, wiping off my actress makeup, putting on Terry spots.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Whatever it takes. And one day I'm at craft service, which is where we would get our coffee and snacks. You know, they call it craft service. And I'm getting some coffee because I couldn't eat because I had to be as skinny as those ladies. And I'm dressed as Terry. So I've got her long brown hair on and her spots in my blue uniform. And one of the producers from, I won't say who, but one of the producers from the Paramount Star Trek franchise came up to me and he kind of looked around and then he got real close and he goes, "I love you on Babylon 5." And then he took off.
Wow.
Like, wait a minute, how did he even know I'm on the show? How does he even know that?
I don't know.
I still don't. To this day, I have no idea. Because I'm dressed as Terry. I'm just a stunt person. How does he know? That was so weird.
But interesting. And that leads us to a great segue from going from the Star Trek world to going to Babylon 5, which you played Lyta Alexander, which was one of my favorite series growing up. And I'd like to know what attracted you to the role of Lyta in the first place.
Oh my God. I read the script for the audition because, again, it was a pilot for the show, and so we have no idea what the show's about. And I read the script. My agent said, "I've got you this great audition." I'm so excited. I'm reading the script and thinking, I'm never going to get this part. It's going to go to a star. This script is so good. I've never read anything so good.
Wow.
So I'm not going to get it, but I get to audition, and I'm so excited that I get to audition. I'm going to go act today, yay. So I go to the audition, and there's only one other guy in the waiting room. There's me and this guy, and we're both reading our sides. Sides are just pieces of paper with the scene you're going to read. And sometimes if the show is top secret, they won't even have you read a real scene. They'll write scenes just for the audition. So I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I loved what I was reading. And so we're both in our own worlds, working on the scene, getting prepared, being ready mentally to go in. And this big guy, all dressed in black, fills up the door to the room where we're actually having the casting session. And he says, "Patricia Tallman." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "My name's Joe Straczynski. I wrote the part for you. Good luck." And he disappears.
Wow.
And the other actor in the room just goes, "No pressure, huh?" And I kind of went numb. I don't really remember the rest of it. I was so terrified. I had no idea what that meant. Turns out Joe had seen Night of the Living Dead, which is a film I'd done.
Yes.
Maybe a year before. And he just really liked my portrayal of Barbara, who is the heroine of the story, but she's a damsel in distress and then turns into Sigourney Weaver, turns into a badass. So he just liked that. And I was really blessed to be able to get that part. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. And I'm sure we're all definitely glad to hear it. And it looks like we just got a question from Captain Justin Fitzek, and he wants to know, from your guest appearance on Star Trek, which was your favorite cast to work with?
Well, it's hard to compare it to hanging out with Patrick Stewart. I'm sure you could understand.
Oh yeah.
I had a whole episode where I did nothing but follow him around because I was the bad guy, and he's just wearing tights because he was going on vacation and going riding or something. And
that's the episode.
He has the most amazing butt. And I got to hang out with him all week, just looking at his cute butt. It was an amazing job. And then I died. But, and I loved Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner. Hilarious. So funny. Just, oh my goodness, how great. And I'm still friends with Gates, and I doubled her upon occasion. But as the Doctor, she didn't have a whole lot of action to do, but I just loved her. And but the beautiful thing to me about Deep Space Nine was getting to work with the Nov Visitor. Yeah. I mean, I just think she's completely amazing. And I love Terry, and I love Siddig. And there's some people that I interacted with. I didn't interact with Avery as much. He was very nice, but I didn't kind of have I don't know that he'd ever remember who I was. Whereas I know the ladies will. If that makes sense. Armin. Oh my gosh. Armin. So great. He's written a book, you guys. He's written a couple of books, many books, but he's got a new book out. You should have him on. I
would love to, but it's kind of hard to get a hold of.
Oh, I can get you in touch. I'll get you in touch.
Oh.
It looks like we're going to have a future guest on Starfleet Icons pretty soon.
I think we're going to have to get Miss Tallman to come back on.
Oh, yeah, that's no
come
question
back
about
on.
that.
Do we have time to sort of talk about what I'm doing now? Do you mind if I mention that?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Because of COVID, we love going to conventions, and I pick and choose the conventions I get to go to. I saw someone ask if I'll be at Vegas. I wasn't invited this year, but next year maybe, huh? We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I love meeting people and going to the conventions. And since COVID shut us down for 2020, I started an online thing called B5 Events. And basically, I just wanted to bring my friends out to meet our fans and our friends out there, and create a thing. So that's what I did. I'm now morphing it into something else, but my last show is going to be on July 31st, my last show like this, like B5 Events, because I'm going to make it, anyway, it's Claudia Christian from Babylon 5, and she's amazing and super fun. So if you guys are interested, b5events.com. Go check it out. You can see what the story is. But what I'm doing is I've started a Patreon page, and I want to create community there. And my passion is putting the magic back into your life. Like, how do you do that? I actually had a really bad time about 8 years ago where I kind of crashed and burned. Full-on nervous breakdown. Maybe it was psychotic break. I'm not sure, but it was devastating. And I had to learn how to kind of rebuild my life from that point. I learned so many interesting and then actually miraculous things that I decided I wanted to let other people know about this stuff. It's just personal development, but it's about it's actual magic. If you get the principles, and it's easier than I think that most of us think it is. So anyway, that's been my new passion. And I talk about that with my guests that come in. Nana is coming in on Friday, day after tomorrow, to talk to the Patreon group.
Wow.
Have you ever seen her Instagram? She does Mama Nana.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. It is amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I've actually interviewed Nana a couple years ago at a convention in Farpoint.
Okay.
And it was amazing talking to her.
Exactly. So I'm really looking forward to that. But that's the kind of thing I'm going to be doing in my Patreon group instead of doing the B5 events. So if you want to, the B5 events are amazing, and it's a real personal one-on-one with these actors. I just want to move on, because I did that because of COVID. But now I want to move on and keep going towards what my initial purpose was, and which is building a community. And right now I'm using Patreon because it's actually working out really well. It's kind of a cool platform for that. And yeah, it is. It's really neat. So I have different levels. You just pay what you can, and then you participate accordingly. So what we're doing is we have a monthly group chat about something that's important. I pick a topic, I poll everybody and get the topic, and then we meet a couple of times on that topic. We have Monday meditations, we have a book club, and we have special guests come in, like Nana's coming in. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I appreciate you letting me talk about it. I also have a store on b5events.com/store, and you can buy my book, which is about my time on Star Trek and Babylon 5. And also we have, that's the Patreon page.
There it is.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So if you want to get there's autographed items there from my castmates, one of a kind things, plus, so just go check it out. And I don't need to, beat you over the head with it, but I'd love for you to check out the store. And thank you for putting that up. That's really sweet. It is really cool to get together. And I know that we've really missed each other because of COVID. We haven't been able to go to conventions. And so I tried to, in my own way, make that community happen, first of all, through B5 events and now through Patreon. So that's what that's about.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for definitely keeping busy throughout the pandemic. I know it's been rough for everybody these past several months, and I can't wait one day that we will all get to go to conventions, have fun, and celebrate fandom, fun, and family at the same time,
Thanks, Avery, for posting those links. That's really sweet of you. Yes, we'll get out there. We'll meet at conventions again. And everyone, when you go to a convention, if you want to see some certain actor guests, you tell that promoter who you want to see, because the promoters listen to you. You're the ones buying the tickets. So if you want to see more Star Trek guests, you tell them who you want to see. Or Babylon 5 guests. They'll listen to you.
Absolutely. You definitely have created a very good sense of community over the years, especially with the Be a Santa project, which you've been involved for 25 years now. So for those who have not heard about the Be a Santa project, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. It's I actually, Madelone and I, Dennis Madelone from our stunt coordinator in Star Trek, had started by doing kind of a special thing for kids where we would go in December, we'd go and there'd be a party and we'd do stunt demonstrations and stuff. And I just thought, I think I can do something else. I can do something else to help the kids have a really amazing time. And I put together Be a Santa. We crowdsourced this before crowdsourcing was a thing. I just let the fans know that we are going to provide a Christmas for these kids. The kids are teenagers. My group is teenagers who have been so sexually, emotionally, and physically abused, they can't be placed in regular foster care. So Penny Lane's kind of like the last stop before juvie, before they end up in lockup. And we're trying to teach them life skills. And meanwhile, my mission with the Be a Santa is to help them feel like there's some people out in the community that gives a shit. It's really hard. These kids have lives we can't imagine. There's stories you do not even want to hear. And they've lost hope. They don't believe in anything anymore. So I try with this program to actually give them a little bit of, a pause in their cynicism to say, oh, that's awfully nice. I collect Christmas cards from people. We give each kid a gift card to the local mall, at least $100 so they could go buy something they want. I mean, they're teenagers. They want to go shopping. I don't want to have to be in charge of that. So, and I give them a big bag full of like stocking stuffer type things, a stuffed animal, some candy, some art supplies, something that they might be interested in, comic books. I make sure everybody gets a book of some sort of teen series book. I really want to encourage them to express their creativity, and I want them to read. So, these little things that are so important. So yeah, that's what we do. We've been doing it for a long time. It's all been fans. It's all been the fans. It's amazing.
That is amazing.
It's so really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally cool.
I want to pipe in here real quick. Ryan Case is one of our board members, and he's the regional commander for Region 2. And I like this. Seems like something we as an organization could support from the top down.
Wow.
That is actually a great idea, and I will be bringing that up with our board members here in August. So that's definitely something we'll have to look into.
Just let me know what you need.
Awesome. We will.
Yeah. Let me know what information you need, and we can pull it together for you. That's amazing. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Bester. Oh my God, Walter. Okay, so I'm 5'9". Walter is 5 foot something, but not that. So, Lyta, I call myself Counselor. I'm the Counselor Cleavage on our ship. So, Deanna Troy was Counselor Cleavage on. Okay, I'm being a little irreverent, but she had a great cleavage. Anyway, they kept putting me in low V-necks, and Walter, his scenes were generally just staring at my cleavage, pretty much. And the crew would make fun of that. So they would just giggle because he'd never make eye contact. I'm up here is that whole joke, Yeah. Walter is insanely talented. He's a total pro. I really enjoyed him, but he is also, I don't know if you know this about him. He's a practical joker. Do you know that?
Did not know that. No.
Oh my God. And I am like the most gullible person on the planet. I fell for it every bloody time.
Oh,
you would think that at some point I would know not to believe him.
Mm-hmm.
But
he looks like the type that would actually have a good time and make it fun.
Oh my God. And he's so good at it. I mean, there's nothing. He can just, I don't know. It's a gift. He can just lie. and there's nothing. And he fleshes out this entire story. And then he takes his time and he talks to somebody else and something else is going. Then he'll come back and say, and about that guy. And I didn't know. I what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Go back to reading. Oh, don't worry about it. It's not big. Whatever it is. And then, because we didn't have cell phones in those days, right? So, I just would. I mean, he'd string me along for hours. We once flew. We flew to the East Coast for a convention, and I'm sitting next to him, and at some point he says, "So." About, this is not his name, but I'm just going to say the promoter. He'll say, let's just call him Stuart. That's not his name. Right. So you know about Stuart, right? I'll go, I know nothing about Stuart. This is my first show with him. Oh, okay. And then he just goes back to his magazine. And I'm like, Walter, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's going on? Oh, it's really not that big a deal. And then he'll go back. I mean, this, you can stretch it out. Finally, he says, okay, I'll just say this.
Yeah.
When you meet him, don't stare. Walter, come on. What does that mean? When I meet him, don't stare.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Well, he's very sensitive about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he went on and on and on, and just dropping these little things in about how this guy has a disfigurement on his nose. He got really, first he just said face. I said, well, what about the face? What is his nose? What about his nose? Well, it's just huge. What? Ooh, he's a goiter on his nose. How does that even happen? Why does it I don't know. What does that mean? He's got like a third head. You just can't stare. He's really sensitive. Oh my God. Now I'm all freaked out because I'm going to stare and he's going to be, oh man, I'm going to embarrass the poor man. I don't want to do that. Get off the plane. Stuart starts walking towards us and Walter says, oh, there's Stuart. And I look and it's this very handsome man. And I'm staring at him like, because I'm just like, I don't see the goiter. Where is there a scar? Did he have it removed? And Stuart just goes, what did Walter say about me? Like everybody else gets it. Everybody else knows.
So speaking about B5 events, I can relate how you wanted to get people involved because we wasn't allowed to go to conventions and stuff.
Sure.
Up until this past year, Starfleet did not do these shows, and I thought it was important because a lot of our members, we have a lot of members that are retired or disabled, and the interactions they get from the fleet, this is really all they have.
Right.
And so when you took away the conventions and you took away the conferences, it left a void in their life that it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So I toyed around with several ideas of what I could do to get the fleet involved. So we actually started doing the Ask Me Anythings, and then we do the After Dark, which is 18 plus, and then icons. We can get actors involved, and it's actually really, so I can relate with you doing the B5 events. My main thing is wanting to get people back involved. Even after COVID is over, I still plan on doing this because we got some people that can't travel for health reasons, and
it's expensive too.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go to everyone. I mean, I think this is really great. If we've not learned anything, we've learned that people do appreciate this. So I just wanted to get back to my main goal, but I think it's beautiful what you're doing and really important that you're supporting your community like that. It's kudos to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And definitely, audience, keep those questions coming. In fact, we got a brand new one from the Major Payne, who said, have you ever refused to do a stunt or seriously injured by one?
I've never refused to do a stunt because we plan them ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And if I think I can't do it, I will say, I'll say hire somebody else. I don't know that I've actually ever said hire somebody else. I just don't put myself out there as someone who does motorcycles. And I never said I liked high falls. And I take them a stunt every one at a time. I was close on Star Trek Generations, their first movie.
Yes.
Turns out I was pregnant. I got pregnant and I didn't tell anybody because they would not have let me on the set. And I was hired to double the Klingon sisters, to double Gates. And there was going to be some ND stunts, nondescript, which meant that I was going to be on the bridge as a red shirt. So it was going to be a nice job for me. And I so wanted to be a part of their first movie. I'd been on this journey with them for years, so I wanted to be there. And it turned out to be an incredible job for me. I got to stunt coordinate the destruction of the Enterprise because our stunt coordinator went off to Vegas to shoot with Patrick Stewart and Bill Shatner, their big scene on the rocks. And so I took over the set to crash the Enterprise, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal. But I was stuck in my Klingon costume, which was leather. And when they fit me for it, it was a couple months before, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm very skinny at the time, and the Klingon sisters are busty. They're chesty. So the wardrobe guy who knew me well was like, all right, bring out the cookies. I got to give Pat some cookies, which are breast pads, bust enhancers. They put in 3 sets to get my boobs up to somewhere near where the Klingon sisters' boobs were. He said, well, the rest will have to be done with makeup because that's the best I can do. But by the time we actually shot the scene, the guy goes, rip out the cookies. Oh my God, what happened to you? It's like, well, I don't know, but I was getting, it's leather, so it didn't give it all. And of course, the main thing that was expanding was my waistline. Oh my goodness, that was just excruciating. But the thing I was concerned about was Malcolm McDowell was going to punch me in the face, and our stunt coordinator Bud Davis wanted me to flip over this console, and it was going to be a hard hit, and not a big deal for me at my, let's say, my experience level, but also being concerned. Okay, I'm like 5 months pregnant now, and I don't know, I may have to say no to this. And the more excited he got about what that gag was going to be, the more I thought, I'm going to have to tell him. I'm going to have to tell him at the end of the day that I can't do that stunt. And at the end of the day, they 86 the stunt. They said, we don't have time to do it. So all he did was hit me in the face. Malcolm just hit me in the face.
Right.
So, but I have been hurt. I mean, every stunt person's been hurt. I've broken my back. I've broken ribs. I've broken my fingers. I've had 8 concussions.
My goodness.
8? Yeah. Yeah. And my coccyx many times. And I don't think any stunt person has an intact coccyx. It's just like one of the first things you do. I've got arthritis in my neck, my back, my shoulders. Klingon cleavage. Oh, is that your happy face, Andrew? Just thinking about Klingon cleavage. Is this After Dark? Are we on After Dark?
No, not yet.
You should definitely have me on for the After Dark part.
Anytime. We actually believe it's scheduled for this Friday. Is that not true, Ed? Give me a thumbs up if it is.
If Friday, what time? I'm doing a thing on Friday.
We usually do it in the evening. So usually it starts about 10 p.m. my time, so 8 p.m. your time.
Okay. Well, we'll have to plan that. I can't do it this week, but
that's fine. You're more than welcome to come on.
Okay.
Sure now, I do have to warn you. It does get kind of.
It does, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm intrigued. What's Fan X? Brian's asking about Fan X in Salt Lake. What's that? I don't know that I've ever heard of that. Is that a convention, Brian?
Yeah, I believe that's a convention in Salt Lake City.
Oh.
Fan XY, I believe.
Well, if you're interested, I mean, if that's your show, then contact me, and anyone can contact me at pattallmannewsletter@gmail.com.
And it does work, people. That's how I got a hold of her.
That's it. So just get a hold of me, or if you like I said, tell the promoter that you want to have actors on. You tell them, and they'll reach out, or you can give them my email, or socials. I'm on all the socials too.
Absolutely. Well, I forgot to tell you something. You and I actually have a history in Starfleet.
What?
Yes. I was the commanding officer of a chapter called the Top Gun, and the USS Top Gun back in 2005. And you were actually there for our commissioning party, and you actually signed our certificate of commissioning. So I want to thank you personally, even though it's been 16 years late.
Wow. I'm honored. Thank you. That's so cool. I love that.
Now we can't be remiss by not talking about Night of the Living Dead, since you worked with the great Tom Savini, and I'm jealous of you, and I want to know, what were some of your fondest memories of being part of Night of the Living Dead, the 90 version?
Wow. It was a great cast, and we had so much fun. I mean, we worked our ass off, but everyone was so talented and funny, just Tony's amazing. But because you mentioned Tom, I'll just say that Tom is a director. For an actor, he's a dream director because he loves actors. He trusts actors. Once he's put his cast together, he just believes in you, and you feel that. And we all loved working with Tom. So yeah, Tom was overseeing. He suggested to Everett, and was it Johnny Volich? Yeah. Optic Nerve, who was doing the effects for Night of the Living Dead. But they were his proteges and he trusted them implicitly. So as the director, he storyboarded everything. He knew exactly what he wanted. And then those guys created it. And it was it was amazing. As you know, it was gruesome. And what I liked I saw it again, not a few years back with Bill Moseley and Tony Todd and Tom. We were in Canada and they had a convention and they opened up one of their old-fashioned, old-timey movie theaters, and they played it on the screen for us and the fans. And I was really amazed at how real the effects looked. Not like the splatter stuff we kind of are inundated with nowadays, but just like what it would really happen. What would really happen? It was so well done on their part, I thought. And I thought all the acting held up too. I thought everybody was really good. It's a movie that I'm proud of. I'm sort of honored to be a part of. It's very sweet in that way. I mean, the movie's not sweet, but it's sweet to look back on it. You know what I mean?
No, but you're part of a great legacy. I always like to ask this question when it comes to actors and their roles. Well, let me first get to this question, this fan question. Pat, do you have any appearances in NorCal coming up?
Not that I know of. No, not yet. I hope so. I hope we, can open this stuff back up soon, but I haven't been contacted yet.
We need to try to get you down to our international conference next year in Tallahassee.
Yes.
I think that'd be fun.
Let's do it.
So much fun. Oh yeah. I almost forgot my question. Okay, now I remember it. So of all the roles that you have portrayed, is there a role out there that you would love to do one day? Or have you done it already?
Okay, so I'm a huge nerd, guys, if you haven't noticed. And my nerddom extends into fantasy. So Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. Oh my God. So I just want to be in one of those kinds of movies or series. It would be a dream come true. Yeah. And I want to be something like a warrior queen. Use my physicality, right? And I'm older, so let me be older. Let me just be like this old badass queen witch thing. I just think that would be the best.
That is wonderful. That's a nice comment. Derry Harry had the 44 Magnum. Lyta had the 4-line upgrade and range with it. Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true.
That's right. That's right.
So what advice would you give to anybody who wants to become an actor or wants to become a stunt person sometime down in the future, someday down the road? What advice would you give them?
I always tell actors or wannabe actors that they need to be educated. It's important that you have a worldview. It's important that you're well read, that you know the classics. And I think it's important to study acting. You don't have to go to university to do it. You just take some really good acting classes, and but it's not. I know it how it looks. It's actually very hard work, and you can't go into it because of your ego, because that's just going to get crushed. I'll just tell you right now. It's not what you think. But if you go into it because you love the art of it, you love your craft, then you'll be able to sustain hard times and get through it and really put together a career, which is a very different thing than just being a personality. Okay, and for stunts, I would say you definitely want to have some sort of physical discipline, whatever flips your switch. Dancing or gymnastics or martial arts, like I've mentioned. You don't have to be great at any of it. It's more about getting to really know your body. Fitness is super important, but you want to be stretchy. So as opposed to a bodybuilder, just all buff, you can't be The Rock. You're going to have to be flexy.
Yeah.
You're going to get thrown around and make The Rock look good. Although nobody could double The Rock. I mean, where would you get a stunt double for The Rock? I have no idea. That was a terrible analogy. So I would say, first of all, physically know your body and and be willing. You got to be willing to eat it, which means pain. You're going to eat it. You're going to hit the ground. It's going to be ugly, but that can be kind of fun in a weird, warped way. If you're weird and warped, you probably will do really well. And what else helps? You need to be a good size to double more people. And that usually means being on the thinner side. They can always pad you up, but they can't make you thinner. Does that make sense? That doesn't mean there's not a place for different body types. There is. It's just the more you can do, the more you can work. And I'm just thinking about work. And then it's about being where they're doing stunts. In areas like Atlanta or Los Angeles or New York or Toronto, where they're shooting. And then you just want to try to meet stunt people, because the stunt industry is very social. It's who at least. It really is. It's kind of a club. And I was very, very fortunate on the movie. I just saw somebody mention Night Riders. In the movie Night Riders, we had a bunch of stunt guys, and I became friends because we were all on this tiny little set for 3 months. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I was in touch with, I called up everyone I knew, which was not very many out here in LA, just to try to, get my bearings. And one of the stunt people started to show me the ropes out here. And I had already had a stunt career going in New York, so I translated okay. I was really fortunate. But it's very social. So you're going to have to meet people. You're going to probably need to work for free. They won't put you on camera for free, but you'll help behind the scenes. You'll help do what the stunt coordinator tells you. And then they might invite you to work out with them, which might mean you're going to do some fight scenes. You're going to practice high falls. You're going to learn to do a ratchet. And they're going to see how you do. And then they'll make their own decision whether or not they want to put you on a set. That's really how it goes. It's not easy, but it's worth it, and it can be done.
I apologize. Our moderator had a computer issue and it logged him off. So,
okay, that's happened to me.
Yeah, he should be back on. So tell us about your current. Are you planning on being in any new sci-fi shows? What do you think about the new Star Trek series that are out?
I would love to be on a sci-fi show. It's just, I'm 63, and it's just, I know it seems like to you guys, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you've been on these shows, you've been on Star Trek, you knew all those people. Why doesn't it translate into the next job? It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It's very hard. So I'm putting my energies into my own business, because I want to have the freedom of a full bank account. I want to have the satisfaction of a business I've created myself. I am asked to do projects for free, and I do some of them, but they just have to be in my union. I don't know what's going to come. I'm hopeful that something will, and I'm moving forward in my own way. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't have any patience with anymore, with the BS that happens, somebody else controlling what I can do, whether or not I get a part, tell me I can't work and I want to work, but that's how our business works. Wow. And I finally kind of woke up one day. I told you I had this really bad time about 8 years ago. And I just came out of that going, I can't do that anymore. I can't let these whippersnappers tell me that I can't work because they don't like my teeth or my ass is too big or something. I'm just not interested in your opinion. I want to do what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does. I wish he was back on. He had all the questions. Let me see.
That's okay.
I
wish he was just back on, because I like talking to him.
So we usually cap these about an hour, because we like to try to keep. We don't want to keep you too long, obviously, because you volunteered to come on with us. I would love to have you back on again. I definitely would love to have you on after dark.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
And it would be an honor. And I do want to thank you for coming on. And I do want to thank Captain Rogers for being our moderator tonight. Thank you for Ed Tunish for manning the back control room. And like I said, I hope to have you back on again. And I'll definitely be in touch the next couple of days about possibly getting Armin on.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So I've always been trying to find somebody that I can connect to and find like an in out, because
Sure.
I've reached out to several people because I was like, I want to do an icons, because there's a lot of people that won't actually be able to actually go meet these people. And so it was important. Thank you. It was important to try to get out there more. And I'm so glad you agreed to come on. It was a big thing. I know we had some scheduling conflicts, but I'm glad we were able to hammer it down.
Hey, it just takes persistence. That's all. You're welcome, Andrew. Appreciate it.
So
Appreciate you being here.
We were doing.
I'm just answering the question. I'm not calling you Andrew.
So we were joined tonight with Patricia Tallman, played Lyta, several Star Trek episodes, including Forrest Gump and The Living Dead. I'm your commander. I'm your, guess you could say, co-host, Fleet Admiral Stephen Parmley. And as always, live long and prosper.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks you, man.
Everybody.
Hello, Starfleet. Please join Fleet Admiral Steve Parmley on this month's Commander of Starfleet's Ask Me Anything, where you can ask him or any of his guests anything. Starfleet related, that is. This is your chance to ask those riveting questions and get the answers you've always wanted. Also, if you would like to be a guest on a future broadcast, please email epdirector.ama@gmail.com and we'll get you scheduled. Hope to see you soon.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.